Oops. Sorry about that. Looks like we had a bit of a connection problem there. Software's playing up. Right, let's hope this doesn't come back again. Let's see. Well, there's one of you out there. 4. It's giving me all sorts of different data. I'll give it another minute or two to see if anyone else joins. I hope it's coming through okay at your end. I've suddenly developed connection problems at the moment. It was working fine the last 20 minutes when I've been testing it. Let's see what happens. We're just going to go for it in 2 minutes and see if it keeps going or not. Hi Ho Ying Wong. Oh, hi Graham. I'm just going to hang around for a little bit longer. Let's hope the connection problems stay away. That was just a little hiccup to start up with. Right. Just going to wait for a bit. Hope everyone's well. Anyone seen anything interesting recently? I know most of us are stuck in the house. Those of you in the UK anyway. Seen anything on the exercise walk? I haven't actually been out on an exercise walk for a couple of weeks. Hi Stun on Stop Night. Yeah, it's a bit jerky. I keep losing bandwidth. I've tried a couple of things. Oh, hi Elizabeth Cooksey. I'm going to push on. I'm tempted to try and just record this. No, I don't think it's just you with the buffering. I've started to record it, so if it starts all going a bit jerky, hopefully you'll be able to watch it back later. I'm also going to adjust the volume a bit because I think I'm a bit loud. Yeah, whatever I do, it seems to be struggling a little bit, but I'm going to push ahead and we'll hope it sort of sorts itself out as it goes. Right, so tonight I'm going to be talking about garden, well, mostly invertebrates. I've got one non-invertebrate, but the sort of things we can see in the garden this time of year. I literally have gone into my garden, which I'm in my shed at the moment, so I'm technically still in my garden. Looked under a few pots, spent a half hour looking around, had my 4-year-old assistant, my daughter, help me out, and yeah, this is the sort of things you can find. I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. I actually have some notes because these aren't pond creatures, although I do know a little bit about non-pond creatures, contrary to popular belief. So let's see how we get on. Let's start with a familiar one. Terrestrial animals before, so we're going to see how well this works. And I'm just going to turn on the camera. Oh, should. Right, bear with me, guys. So here's animal number 1. I'm going to turn the other light on as well. That's probably a good idea. I've got a bit more light now. Here we go. See if you can work out what this is before I focus on it. You might have glimpsed it a second ago. Let's just go straight to minimum focus. Here we go. It is a 7-spot ladybird. So this is your classic ladybird. And these guys over winter, always waking up as adults, as you can see. Beetles. A lot of people don't realise ladybirds are actually beetles. And are aware. If this were a bit more awake, it would squeeze out yellow blood from its kneecaps, effectively. Well, not really kneecaps, obviously its joints in the legs, I should say, to be scientific, which are foul tasting. But no ladybirds are actually poisonous, contrary to popular belief. I quite often hear from children, oh, the yellow ones are poisonous. Nope, they're just bad tasting, and that's what stops the birds eating them. Oh, Graham guessed it was an isopod. Close. No, actually not close, but you're close to what it's a clue to what's coming up. Well, why don't we just jump straight to it, shall we? If I can find what pot I've put them in. Oh no, hold on to that one. There we go. Some isopods. Isopods, you might say. You do know what I'm talking about, but I'm just using scientific terminology for them. Here we go. Here we go. There's a side-on view. Oh, my camera seems to be underexposing. There's a side-on view of one, and there's another one on here. If I can work out where he is, there it is at the front a bit more. There we go. It's a woodlouse, which are isopods. I'm going to try and do it this way. So bear with a second. Here we go. That's a bit better, a bit more stable. Now, isopods and woodlice, obviously, are crustaceans. So they're actually related to crabs, lobsters, all that sort of thing. And yeah, so they have a calcium type skeleton. Their exoskeleton, I say, is actually made from a different substance to the insects and the other arthropods. Now this is a striped woodlouse, probably a common striped woodlouse. I'm going to go a bit higher just to see. So it's a bit jerky. It's the live view of on the camera. Here we go. Let's zoom out a bit. You can just about make out a stripe down his back there, and the nice mottled pattern. These are quite common in grasslands and gardens. There's nothing particularly special. I was hoping to find a snail that's quite rare that lives in my garden. It's actually an alien species, which is why it's rare, because it shouldn't be here. But I couldn't find any today. As always, when you want to find these things. Yes, thanks, Graham. Yeah, naturally curious is Graham. Yeah, so these feed on like dead leaves and stuff like that. An interesting fact about this species is when the male's courting a female, he'll crawl on her back and he'll sort of drum on her back with his legs, which I think is rather nice, to get her in the mood, as it were. And woodlice, many species of woodlice will carry their eggs underneath their underside, basically between their legs, so to look after them. And this woodlouse species is known as the fast woodlouse. There's apparently another common name. I hadn't heard this, but I'm not surprised because they do an half run, especially when you try and photograph them for silly things. They're not like the peel woodlouse that can roll up in a ball, and sometimes you get these other larger species and they'll just sort of clamp themselves like a limpet to whatever they're holding on to. Ah, of course, Max knows exactly what the spitting Max of my head what it was. So well done, you've outsmarted me there. Max, I believe Max is based in Devon. And if you look on the comments there, he went out to look for oil beetles, something I've never seen, so I'm very jealous of that. Graham, naturally curious, gets leopard slugs in his kitchen. I usually get leopard slugs in my garden. I couldn't find any today. I don't get that many though, so that might be why. Now, if you are a woodlouse, I'm about to show you, not that I imagine any of you are. It's a bit cold up. Knocking him. It's one of the very few species of spider that can bite you, but you have to be extraordinarily clumsy with them to get them to do it. And no, I'm not going to demonstrate it. I've never been bitten by a spider and don't intend to break that record. Here we go. Now you might be able to see the abdomen now, and just about be able to see why it's called a baked bean spider as well. And this has a massive pair of jaws for its size. The woodlouse spider is the other name for it. Because it eats woodlice, and they will grab the woodlouse, and one fang will go in through the top, one fang will come up through the bottom, and then that's bite by a woodlouse, which is why I took the woodlouse out first. Although it's unlikely I would have eaten it at the moment. It's probably too busy trying to find the dark, because it likes staying in dark places. Come on, back down you go. Gently give him a nudge. Absolutely cracking. And Max is saying there that they're quite common in coastal areas. That is very true. They don't go below the high tide mark at high tide at least, but they will run down. And there's lots of woodlice, including some sort of marine isopods on the seashore, so there's probably plenty for them to eat there. In fact, there's a species of, I won't call it a woodlouse, but isopod. In fact, the group is primarily marine, that is about a foot or two long, that lives on the seabed. So that's a rather cool thing. Right, I'm going to get Mr. Woodlouse Spider back in his pot. Just bear with me a second, guys. Oh, in you go, mate. I don't want to leave you in my shed. My shed has cellar spiders in it, and which are the long dangly legged ones, and they eat other spiders, so if he got out in here he'd probably end up as lunch. Come on mate, here we go. And he's in. Right, sorry for the rubbish video for you. I should have switched back to me, shouldn't I really? Let's switch back to me for a second. Right, you can see me working things. I'm going to get one that everyone's familiar with. Now, I'm not 100% sure on the species of this one, but I can be 100% sure what it is in terms of group, and I think pretty much everyone watching will know what this is. It's an earthworm. I suppose it's on a white background. I should really not be so lazy. Now I'm pretty sure this might be this could be a fat tailworm or not a lugworm, a lubworm, which is one of the common earthworms. Earthworms are absolutely fascinating. I've actually got another worm to show you in a minute. I might just stick this one. So this is your bog standard earthworm that you get in the soil. Some species will live vertically in the soil, and they will take leaves down into the soil, putting nutrients back. There's some that will live horizontally. This is all different species rather than different individuals, and that will and they will obviously mix the soil lower down. And some live in the leaf litter, and obviously they're sort of moving things around. The sort of ones you get in the compost are the sort of ones you tend to get in leaf litter. Sometimes they call them red worms. Not too muddled up with tube flex or anything like that. And you can see here it's moving along, so his entire body is covered in. So that's why when you see a blackbird trying to pull them out of the ground, they can't get them out because those hairs sort of anchor them in. Amazing things. Of course, all worms are hermaphrodites, so they're both a boy and girl at the same time, to dumb it down nicely. This end's the head end. You've got this. I'm going to try and zoom in there. You've got the saddle there, so that's sort of the lumpy bit, and that is where the eggs will, and all the action happens when they're making baby worms, come from. So they'll form an egg cocoon there, and then that will slide off the worm as it moves along. And this is the tail end. Now, if I were to chop this worm in two, contrary to popular belief, I would not get two worms. One bit might survive, but most likely scenario is I will have two dead halves of a worm. So it's not a good thing to do. Earthworms, of course, are. Oh, I'm going to zoom right out to show you how big this one is. This is quite a big one. A very important part of keeping the soil healthy, and an extremely important part of the food chain. So many things eat them. Obviously, badgers, blackbirds, stuff like that eat them, but also things like foxes, buzzards, and many other things. Obviously, all the little birds have them as part of their diet. It's quite surprising, really, exactly how many things eat them. I do have a slug, but it. Oh, Max didn't endorse it. I was close. Yeah, right on the boundary. There you go, pretty close. Max has mentioned Ligia oceanica, which is a very, well, I say very big, it's like 2-3 centimetres long woodlouse type thing that lives on. Oh, is that Ligia oceanica? I'm getting that right, aren't I, Max? It's the big woodlouse that lives on rocky cliffs and stuff. Max says, do I eat them? No, it's good for lots of things, but not me. Yeah, let's have a look. Oh, Mr. Ladybird's trying to crawl away, so I'm going to quickly put Ladybird away. Woken up. All these are going to go back to where I found them, probably tonight. Especially the next one, I'm definitely going to put back tonight. I was not expecting to find this, but I'd already disturbed it under the log, so I thought I'll very quickly bring them out for you guys to see. Just to give you a little bit of hope for spring. Now this is almost certainly a sibling, well, it was laid at the same time at least, it could have different parents obviously, of the tadpoles I showed you last week. Oh, it helps if I turn the camera on so you can actually see what I'm talking about. Oh, and it's hopping away. There you go, you all know what it is now. If I said tadpoles and hopping. Common frogs, Rana temporaria, that I can never pronounce. Oh no, that's it, turn around you. Oh, this way a little bit. Here we go. I just want to show your face to everybody. Here we go. Here he is. What a cutie pie. mice and rabbits, or pardon, baby rabbits, these animals go in. Yeah. We've got Graham and Max talking about earthworms. Darwin was a big fan of earthworms. He actually wrote quite a lot on them. Read a couple of papers. He worked out that the South Downs was eroding because of the action of earthworms. They put the soil on the surface in casts, which would then get washed away by the rain, and it would expose the rock a little bit to be eroded. So it's quite cool. But let's go back to the frogs. You can tell this is a frog because it hasn't got properly warty skin like a toad, and it hasn't got behind its eye, it hasn't sac that the toads have, and just the general shape of it is a bit more angular. Toads tend to be lumpy and round a bit more, and a bit cuter in my view. But there we go. This earthworm is just going round and round the tray. It's quite funny, but he's quite happy there. So this frog, I think it wasn't hibernating. I think it was slightly active because it's quite mild today. And it moved as soon as I moved the log, so I don't think I woke him up, thankfully. And you can see there he's breathing away, so he's quite active. There's plenty of springtails around for him to eat, which I'll come to in a minute. But I thought we'd just enjoy looking at lovely frogs. We can't get to do it very much at the moment, but it won't be long. If it stays mild, it'll be in the next month in some places. In fact, some places have already got their frogs, haven't they? Lucky whatsits. Right, back in you go, mate. I don't want you getting dried out. There we go. Oh, better put the lid on for her. You can jump out. There we go. Right. Not got many more, and as I suspected, I've totally ignored my notes. I'm just going to have a quick look to see. Put me back on. Let's see what else we've got. That's the spider. I've got another spider here somewhere, and I don't know what I've done with it. Oh no, let's put this one out. This one's a good one. Then we'll go with the spider. Right. This is one that catches some people out, even ones that know a little bit about their invertebrates. This at first glance you might think is a centipede. Oh, the froglet, Graham, was about 2 centimetres long, an inch at most. This literally looks like a centipede, but it's actually one of the flat-backed millipedes. And I've not actually seen one exactly like this, so I think this is a different genus to what I'm used to seeing. And I can tell it's not a centipede. Or centipedes tend to be bright orange, which is a bit of a giveaway, although this one is quite orange, which is a bit misleading. But if it stayed still long enough, I'd be able to show you that there are in fact 4 legs on each body segment, or 2 pairs, however you want to call it. And you can see they sort of move with this sort of wave motion. I'm going to try and hold my hand a bit more steady, sorry guys. Here he goes, or she goes, I don't know which one this is. And it also lacks, centipedes have these, their front pair of legs wrap around their head and form fangs effectively. And these guys tend to be sort of detritivores or herbivores, eating dead plants and occasionally live plants as well. Whereas centipedes are always predators as far as I'm aware. And there they go. I love the legs of millipedes, it's just amazing. Yeah, I thought Max would know these. Looking around. They're fabulous things. Just see if we can get a bit closer. It keeps moving though, so probably not a good move. Right. One of my lights is dying, but luckily it's my backup one. Let's hope the... I've got a backup, so it should be okay. Let's get Mr. Millipede in. Just bear with me, guys. So... we're going to have a look. I'm hoping the video's been alright for everybody. I've got one that I'm going to change myself with right at the end. I've got our worms. Whoops. Oh, here we go. Oh no. I've got a spider I'm not sure about, but one I definitely know what type of spider it is, if not what species, because they're very hard to tell. This is one of my favourite types of spiders. Yes, I have lists of favourites of everything, basically. And again, I bet Max knows what this is before I even say it. If I can actually focus on it. Let's focus on that. Oh, there we go. I did it then, didn't I? I find if you focus, it helps you actually look at the thing to start with, doesn't it? it's going to run as soon as I move the pot. So I've got to be quick. Here we go. These are always fun to photograph. It's a wolf spider. It's running past the snout now. I'm going to have to just zoom out, I think, and do my best. Here we go. So these guys don't be webs. As their name suggests, they hunt their prey. Which is basically any other smaller invertebrates they can grab. And what I love about these guys, well, and girls I should say, is the females will build a cocoon. It looks like a little golf ball. Sometimes it's blue, sometimes it's white. And they'll attach it to the end of the abdomen there that I'm looking at. And when they hatch, they'll let the youngsters crawl on their back or on their abdomen, and they carry them around for quite a while, which is really rather lovely. Fantastic mothers. And there's loads in this group. Lycostidae is the group, and there's loads of them. Right, sorry about that. Looks like I dropped out for a second there. I don't know how it's going to come up on your stream. Oh, let's see. Right, I don't know if it's letting me come back on now. There's a massive problem with connection there. I think, guys, gone. I think we're going to finish it there because it's just really struggling with connections. If you've got any questions, they seem to be coming through fine, but the video seems to be struggling a bit now. And Max is spot on. Centipedes move like millipedes on ADHD, but with ADHD. That's a very good description. I'm going to steal that. Yes, yeah. But I think that's one of the common ones, isn't it? Pardosa amiantia, isn't it, Max? Max is suggesting that. Yeah, I think the streams basically had it, so I don't know what's going on. It was working fine right up until I pressed stream, so I don't know if it's my end or what. But I hope you can hear me. I'm going to type it in there. I don't know if you can all see this. So I'm just going to type a message. Oh, no, it looks like it's trying to come back, but I think we'll finish there rather than try and... it looks like it keeps dropping back in and out. This light keeps coming on and off as well. Right, I'm going to go and put these creatures back. So I'll tuning in, everybody. Right, so I'm reconnected. Right, see you later, guys. I don't know if it's going to let me do this or not.